Good afternoon and welcome. We will now begin our service. We gather here today to honor the service of our veteran Clyde McCully and the memory of his wife Betty. If you have not already silenced your cell phones, please do so at this time. Today's honors consist of the playing of taps and the folding and presentation of the flag. We ask all who are able to please stand during the playing of taps. Current and former military members may render the proper hand salute. All others may place their hand over their heart. At the conclusion of taps, please be seated during the folding and presentation of the flag. Thank you. Please stand and welcome the United States Coast Guard.
Betty Jo.
Thank you. You may be seated.
On behalf of the President of the United States Coast Guard, and our grateful nation, please accept this flag as a representation of every loved one's honorable and faithful service. Flag face.
This concludes the military portion of our service. Thank you to the United States Coast Guard and Bugles across America for rendering the honors this afternoon. At this time, I'd like to invite Brian to come and share.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Most of you know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Brian McCully. I'm the oldest of 4 children born to Clyde and Betty Jo McCully. You know that from the video today. I have asked to say a few words today on behalf of our family. First, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I think it would please my dad greatly to know that all you caring folks joined us today to celebrate his life. It also would please him greatly to know that we gathered to celebrate his life on Monday, March the 13th, which is National Napping Day. Because if there was anybody who could value a good nap, it was certainly my dad. Your presence here today means a lot to us and is truly appreciated. Over the years, my dad and I shared a common interest in several things: the expedition of Lewis and Clark, cowboy poetry, and good old-fashioned westerns. You see, my dad and I were really both cowboys at heart. Frequently, when we were in Montana, we'd watch westerns, whether episodes of a TV series like Gunsmoke or movies such as Open Range, Unforgiven, or even the old spaghetti westerns. Those of you who visited him at his residence know that he regularly had an episode of Gunsmoke playing on the television. Since his passing, I have been thinking a lot about why my dad liked westerns so much. Here's what I think. Unlike modern society, in westerns, both the good guys and the bad guys were easily identifiable. During his lifetime, my dad was a decent, honest, ethical man. In other words, he was one of the good guys, and he was pretty darn good at identifying the bad guys. In westerns, the good guys are generally hardworking, dependable, and self-reliant. They didn't blame, they didn't complain, and they didn't tolerate excuses. They knew the right thing to do and did what had to be done. My dad was that very same way. He didn't blame nor did he complain. During his career in community college education, even during the most turbulent and troublesome of times, he always seemed to know the right thing to do, and whenever possible, he got it done. In westerns, the good guys are always courageous. They understand that courage doesn't mean you're not scared. Oh no, it just means that even though you're scared, you saddle up and ride anyway. They understood that courage is simply faith that has said its prayers. My dad knew that too. He knew that on June 6, 1944, when as an 18-year-old coxswain in the U.S. Coast Guard, he repeatedly landed a Higgins boat full of foot soldiers on Utah Beach as part of the D-Day invasion, the greatest military undertaking in human history. He was a part of that. Later, he knew that again when he landed the troops in his Higgins boat at both Iwo Jima and Okinawa. In westerns, the good guys always care about their country and stand ready to defend it. My dad was that way too. My dad cared about this country. He knew it had been good to him, and he often said that. In return, he answered its call and served it with both honor and distinction in both the European and Pacific theaters during the perilous days of World War II. In westerns, the good guys always care about the local town and do what they can to make it better, whether Dodge City, Tombstone, or Laramie. During his lifetime, that was true of my dad as well. He contributed to his community through membership in and even serving as president of North Fresno Rotary. He also served on the Valley Children's Hospital Board of Directors and the Urban Coalition. Over the years, he participated in many charitable events and supported many worthwhile causes. In westerns, the good guys likewise always care about others, whether fellow cowboys, neighboring ranchers, or their own family members. Further, they supported those they care about and protected them from the dangers and threats posed by life in the American West. During his lifetime, my dad was just such a person as well. He dearly loved and cared for his family, including his parents, his siblings, our mother, us kids, his grandkids, and his great-grandkids. The instances in which my dad provided help to members of this family are countless. In fact, I'd venture to say most of the family members here today have benefited from something he did for us or on our behalf. One more thing. In westerns, the good guys generally have a love interest in the form of a wife or sweetheart they care about. That wife or sweetheart was always supportive and devoted. Matt Dillon had Miss Kitty. Roy Rogers had Dale Evans, and Charles Ingalls had Caroline. For over 60 years, my dad had just such a devoted wife and sweetheart, our dear mother, Betty Jo. She was devoted to him and supportive of him. Further, like him, she was committed to the safety and well-being of this family. Theirs was a love story that lasted a lifetime. And while that story may not be right for everyone, it certainly was right for them. Somehow, it seems a fitting end to their story that they are interred here together today. The more I've thought about it, the more I've come to understand why Westerns so appealed to my dad. You see, Westerns capture a time when life was a purposeful and challenging journey, not the carnival ride that it is today. Westerns represented to my dad a world that was understandable, peopled by good guys that acted honorably and bad guys that got what they rightly deserved. Further, the good guys were role models, demonstrating the human qualities that my dad so admired, and in fact, qualities that my dad, he himself possessed: integrity, bravery, loyalty, commitment, and personal responsibility. So from now on, when somebody asks me why I like watching Westerns, I'm simply going to say, well, because the good guys in Westerns. Remind me so much of my dad. God bless you, cowboy.
On behalf of Mandy, we want to thank you all for being here and welcome you to reception at the Bayonet Golf Course just down the road. Thank you for being here. It was an honorable day for an honorable man. Thank you.
This concludes the services we have here today at the shelter. I'd like to invite anyone who would like to come and view their interment to now follow us to Columbarium G. You may walk or you may drive there. There is parking. It is the fourth large structure on your left-hand side. So if you would all please stand and now make your way over.
Clyde McCully, United States Coast Guard, thank you for your service. Rest in peace and honor.